Hailey's on It is a new Disney Channel cartoon that has recently started airing. The premise of the show involves Hailey Banks, whose anxiety prevents her from trying out new things, even stuff that she really wants to do.
Although, now that I look at it, my lattice work is still builder grade. What if I get there and everyone hates it? And they laugh at me? Then one of the judges throws my birdhouse into the dumpster? But there was a bird still in there because no one checked, and now I'm a bird murderer!
Man, I can't stress enough how relatable this internal conflict is to me personally. However, everything changes when Hailey is visited by a scientist from the future who informs her that she'll go on to save the world, and it all began with her completing her bucket list. But unfortunately, an unknown person is sending robots called Chaos Bots to the present in order to stop her from completing the list in question, which will result in the apocalypse. And so now it's up to Hailey to complete her list and save the future. However, there was just one slight problem. That being, one of the items on the list is kissing her best friend Scott the Noga. Yup, this is yet another best friends to lovers story. I'm generally not a fan of this trope for a multitude of reasons, one of them being that usually the build up to the relationship is dragged out for far too long, as well as the fact that oftentimes the development of the couple becomes stagnant, making it difficult to remain invested in the storyline. Although Hailey's on It does have the opportunity to deviate from this predictable route, as the list item only requires Hailey to kiss Scott. It doesn't specify anything about being his girlfriend. Plus, there had been a couple times where Hailey ends up completing an item on her list in an unexpected way. So maybe instead of by kissing Scott, that item could be checked off just by Hailey confessing her feelings for him. They wouldn't have to get together, but it will lift a massive weight off of Hailey's shoulders, and her and Scott's friendship can still remain as strong as it always has been. However, the series doesn't seem to be heading towards a unique direction for the storyline, but rather, it's sticking to the same old path. So with Hailey and Scott seemingly inevitably becoming a couple, the question now is, could their relationship potentially work as a romantic one? To answer that, we'll need to first look at their characters individually. Hailey is a smart and talented girl. However, it's difficult for her to take charge of a situation due to getting stressed out easily and overthinking too much about all the things that could possibly go wrong. Scott on the other hand can be quite dense, and I'm not putting that lightly.
So you two are going to be spending all week working together? That's totally perfect! I'm going to be way busy anyway, so that works out great.
However, he's also optimistic and daring. So what we have here is a seemingly perfect opposites attract scenario, as the differences between these two can allow them to help each other to grow as people, with Hailey's intelligence compensating for Scott's stupidity, along with Scott encouraging Hailey to be more adventurous, as well as to go with the flow. However, despite the potential for a great relationship between Hailey and Scott, this storyline so far has been heavily hindered by the show's bland and generic writing. One of the most prominent issues is how forced and on the nose the relationship between Hailey and Scott comes across as. One example of this is in the first episode of the series, where Hailey and Scott are on a love boat ride, and the song that's playing during the ride is called Kiss Your Friend. And get this, literally one of the lyrics is, if you want to prevent the apocalypse, which seems way too similar to Hailey's situation. Don't get me wrong, the song itself is actually pretty catchy, but come on, this is way too specific to be a coincidence. And there's also the episode The Show Must Go Wrong, where for a musical play, Scott and his girlfriend Christine were originally going to sing a love duet together, only for her to end up getting a leg injury in an accident. And so Hailey takes her place, which is definitely the writer's way of saying that these two are meant for each other. Another major example is in the episode The Puppel Kerfuffle, where Hailey and Scott learned that the lead co-stars in their favorite kids show, Thatcher and Kylie, had split up. The news hits hard for Hailey, as she always inserted herself and Scott onto them. And the situation gets worse when Hailey and Scott actually meet them later in the episode, and learn that Kylie had confessed her feelings to Thatcher, which ended up making things between them awkward, which eventually led to them leaving the show. Because of this, Hailey becomes worried that admitting to Scott that she likes him would also ruin their friendship. But then Scott makes an excellent point about how he and Hailey are not Thatcher and Kylie. But that gets dismissed at the end of the episode, where it is revealed that Thatcher had married his best friend, a woman named, get this, Bailey. Not only is that Hailey's name but with a B instead of a H, But Bailey also has a ponytail and glasses, just like Hailey. She even has the same birdhouse building hobby that Hailey has. But the similarities don't stop there. It also turns out that Bailey and Thatcher were next door neighbors growing up, just like Scott and Hailey. And the two of them got together thanks to Bailey confessing to Thatcher about her crush on him. Because of this, Hailey starts to insert herself and Scott onto Thatcher and Bailey, ignoring the mature lesson from Scott about comparing their friendship to the relationships of other people. And as the cherry on top, the instrumental of Kiss Your Friend plays in the background, just in case there was any more ambiguity over if this scene was meant to indicate that Scott and Hailey are gonna end up together. For the majority of the time, the show hits the audience over the head with the possibility of Hailey and Scott getting together in the most unsubtle way imaginable. Instead of letting their relationship and the chemistry they share speak for itself. As a result, there's no substance to the storyline to get audiences invested. Not helping is the fact that this show kind of uses the trope of a character finding out who they'll end up with in the future. While it's not 100% confirmed that Hailey and Scott are a couple in the future, one of the list items that Hailey must complete in order to supposedly save the world is to kiss him. What makes this sort of plot point questionable is the implication that the characters are starting a relationship because they are obligated to do so, regardless of how they actually feel about each other. Heck, I myself seen some people comment about how Hailey and Scott should get together in order to save the future, rather than actually shipping them. While it is established that Hailey does in fact have a crush on Scott, which does fix some of the issues of this trope, at the end of the day, this doesn't change the fact that this show's narrative is pushing Hailey's and Scott's relationship to such an annoying degree. But wait, that's not all, as the show also throws a love triangle into the mix. Because that worked out so well for Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Christine Sanchez is introduced in the first episode of the show, and right off the bat she asks Scott out, to which he accepts, much to Hailey's dismay. There isn't much to the relationship between Scott and Christine, as it's mostly just there as a plot device to prevent Hailey from kissing Scott, thus prolonging the storyline. But wait, there's more! In the episode Catching Felines, Hailey befriends Scott's younger sister, Becca, and then in the final scene, we get this line from her.
Whoa, did you hear that, Chainsaw? She's totally into me. Someday, I'm gonna kiss Hailey Banks.
Yup, Becca has a crush on Hailey, turning the love triangle into a love rectangle. This really is Star vs. the Forces of Evil 2.0. At the moment, I don't think Becca and Hailey are going to end up together, since Hailey and Scott seem to be the endgame ship of the series. It seems that this plot point is going to cause some drama later down the line, since Scott and Becca are siblings. Although I imagine there's likely going to be a scene where Hailey gives Becca a gentle rejection, and then the two of them will move on as friends. Okay, sometime after finishing the script and recording, a new episode came out where Becca falls out of her crush on Hailey, and ends up with another girl named Kennedy. I really thought this was going to be a major plot point in the series, and had expected it to go on for a while. But hey, I'm not complaining, as I quite like Becca and Kennedy's dynamic. Anyway, back to the video. However, recently in the show, a major curveball has been thrown into the mix. Scott gets dumped by Christine. While he's heartbroken about it for a while, he eventually starts to get over it after some wacky events. And just as Hailey's about to seize the opportunity and confess her feelings for him and get that kiss, she gets a call from Christine, and when Hailey informs her that someone's planning to hook up with him, not revealing that it's actually her, Christine becomes furious.
Oh, absolutely not! This breakup has been so hard! And what kind of heartless girl goes for a guy just days after a breakup?
While it is true that Hailey shouldn't try to kiss Scott so soon after his breakup, however, the characterization of Christine in the past few episodes had been extremely off-putting. While her getting jealous over Scott choosing to help Hailey after already promising to help her make an audition video was understandable, trying to make him jealous by flirting with another guy instead of communicating with him about the problem was quite toxic. That, along with getting possessive of Scott despite dumping him, comes across as jarring, as in her introduction, the show went out of its way to establish that Christine is a genuinely nice person, and she consistently maintained an upbeat attitude up to this point. They literally did a 180 on a love rival's personality, just to further push Hailey and Scott as the couple that should get together, which isn't very good writing. This just serves to add yet more petty drama into the storyline, as now Hailey would be betraying Christine if she and Scott get together, even though the two of them didn't even have that close of a friendship. As indicated when Hailey declined to befriend Christine when she needed to make a female friend to complete an item on her list. In the next episode, Hailey does end up finding a loophole by kissing Scott as part of a party game, but she ends up backing out of it, as she wants her first kiss with Scott to be genuine. While this is admirable, it does however mean the storyline is just gonna continue dragging on. At this point in the series, I don't feel too compelled to root for Hailey and Scott to get together, due to the generic writing and tiresome tropes that comes with their relationship. But I guess we'll see what happens in the future. And that was my video on the Hailey and Scott ship. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a like, share, and comment. Also, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell for notifications. And if you're interested in supporting this channel, then head over to my Patreon. Well, I got nothing else to say, so see ya.